There he is, Parks Bonifay, youngest competitor at the 96 X Games, looking to do one better than Katie Brown did in the wall climbing event to become the youngest ever to win a gold.
Right now, Shannon Best up for his second pass. The wonder from down under barely got in yesterday, but he's looking good right here out on the water. Coming up now, Shannon's Air Mobius, a very difficult trick. He uses the wake as a bank. Does he land it? Yes, Shannon Best holds on.
And when the judges score this second pass from Shannon Best, they will include that awesome Air Mobius at the end, the biggest points he got in his second run.
Look at how Shannon uses the wake as a bank right here. This trick is a very difficult trick because it's a flip and a helicopter without the use of a wake. He leans way far back, almost goes down, but the edge of the board keeps him in the water and he holds on.
With the action for Shannon Best complete, you're looking at our current leader now. Terrific score, 90.42. If you want to understand more, 10 competitors are going to go 25.
Tricks accounts for 2/3.
Is on the water, the round of 10. He is considered really the most athletic wakeboarder out here. A very wondrous three-event skiing background. He slalom, trick, jumped all three.
Look at the contrasting style of Jeremy Kovac as he pulls off a giant Mobius and lands way out in the flats. Compared to Shannon Best and some of the other riders, he's very upright, and he doesn't link his tricks together. Oh, my word, an Air Mobius. First a Mobius, then an Air Mobius, both in his first pass. Now here comes the first Mobius. Good, strong angle into the wake. Incredible height right there. Now look at the handle pass. He still has 2 or 3 feet left before he hits the water when he makes that handle pass.
Amazing how smooth he lands as well, sticking the landing each and every time. This is the second of the 25-second passes for Kovac.
Kovac's got his eyes on Shannon Best. He wants that lead. Stalls the board out right there. Carving into the wake for an air roll to revert. He's got one trick left, coming into the wake in the fakie position. Does a roll and lands in the fakie position. That's a fakie to fakie roll, and that's Jeremy Kovac's second pass.
For Jeremy Kovac, will it be enough to improve over Shannon Best? And yes, it is. Just over 90.7, and he will take the lead for right now. Join current world champion Mike Weddington in his second pass. 25 seconds. He has 6 tricks to get done in this pass.
Mike begins with a big front flip to fakie, and he grabs it. The judges are going to like that. He sticks out his tongue, a la Michael Jordan, as he goes for a half cab roll. Nice carve into the wake right here, a tantrum, and he grabs the board. A big, juicy grab. Mike pulling out all the stops here.
Logging some style points on the way. He's doing everything he can to make sure that the current world champion makes it to the final round of 4.
And there's his Oriental, his wild card trick. I don't know if he grabbed it. A little bit sloppy. Here's the tantrum. Flattens the board out right before he gets to the wake. But look at that grab. He holds on to the board, almost to the board, hits the water. Great tantrum for Mike Weddington.
That run for Mike Weddington, good enough to put him on the bubble, if you will. 4th place, and of course the top 4 competitors will move on. But I got to tell you, with names like Parks and Dean yet to come, it's going to be a tough way to go. On the water now, Sean Murray.
Second trick right here, a scarecrow, a frontside front roll to revert. Sean, the consummate showman, always waving to the crowd. That's a hoochie glide. He grabbed his board and tweaked it way behind his head on that trick. And there's a half cab roll. Sean setting up for his Mobius. He needs this trick. Yes.
The full twisting helicopter is going to count for Sean Murray, but the fact that he put his hand down in the water will take away style points. But he's happy about the whole run.
The Mobius has a very high degree of difficulty, but let's watch the hoochie glide. Sean Murray gets a good carve into the wake, leans way back, puts the board way behind his head, and look at that grab. He holds on to the board for a long time and tweaks it and sticks the landing. Great hoochie glide.
Sean Murray, second pass now, 25 seconds on the clock. At the end, the optional wild card trick, which counts for style points only, though.
Sean starts out with the switch stance grip. He took off fakie and landed forward. There's a tantrum to fakie. And here's a trick that Sean invented. It's a backflip without the use of a wake, and Sean Murray calls it the Bel Air.
Murray for the 4th trick.
Switch stance front flip. He's got one trick left. Hoochie glide, grabs the board, and lands it fakie. A hoochie glide to fakie. That's a big pair of passes for Sean Murray.
And for Murray, buys himself a little time. That'll move him up to the 3rd spot. Take a look at our leaderboard halfway through this exciting brand new addition to the X Games. Kobach, Best, Murray, Mikasic, but the absence, interestingly enough, of our current world champion, Mike Weddington. He is out of the top 4. And when we return,
and I'm the adopted brother.
number 1 and number 2 coming into the...
And Scott's first pass is clean.
And Scott and the rest of the wakeboarders are actually skiing on a pylon that was specially designed for the X Games and put into one particular boat for all of them to ski on, but they recommend not trying to do this at home. It's very special.
Here's Scott's half cap roll. Notice the contrasting style. He holds onto that board, grabs it, and lands it clean.
Second pass for Scott Byerly. He needs more than that 89.9 that got him into the second round.
Scott Byerly starts off with a switch stance front flip into a switch stance scarecrow. A roll to revert for Scott. Scott's style is totally unique in wakeboarding. Tantrum right there. He's setting up for his big trick. It's a switch stance Mobius. He needs it to advance.
And he'll get it. Scott Byerly moves on to the round of 4, but Mike Weddington will not. He's with our Camille Duval.
Mike Weddington, current world champion. Disappointing round today. Didn't make it to the finals. What happened?
I just didn't have a hard enough passes put together. You know, my passes didn't add up to enough, but I'm stoked for the guys that made it. They're riding really well, standing their stuff up, and I'm happy for them all. Can't wait to see the Final 4 go out there.
Now, everyone scored really high. What kind of big tricks should we be looking for in the finals?
We'll be looking for a lot of Mobiuses, regular Mobiuses, switch stance Mobiuses, S-bends, Rayleighs, everything. They're going to be pulling it all out for these finals.
Literally tenths of points has separated our top 2 competitors here in the round of 10. Parks Bonifay is on the water. He is the youngest competitor at the X Games, and he has already lit the water of Roger Williams Park on fire.
Parks setting up for his first trick right here. Gigantic backside Rayleigh. Parks does that trick better than anybody. Coming into the wake here, front side, lands the roll, fakie. That's a scarecrow. Tantrum to fakie for Parks Bonifay. Parks is improving every time he gets out on the water. This guy is unbelievable. Setting up right now for the biggest trick of the competition, the S-bend. Maximum difficulty. Parks Bonifay goes huge on that S-bend.
2 passes, 25 seconds each. Parks will have a second one in a moment.
Watch this S-bend. Parks is leaning back, unbelievably strong into the wake, launches it 15 feet up into the air, at least, maybe 20, then spins the board around, 360, completes it 4 or 5 feet above the water, and lands the trick.
Parks Bonifay is now 25 seconds away from final round action. His first time and wakeboarding's first time here at the X Games.
A switch stance scarecrow for Parks. Parks looking like he's been competing for 30 years and the kid's only 14 years old. A whirly bird! A tantrum with the helicopter. Parks pulling out all the stops.
The switch tantrum to front, and Parks Bonifay, will he throw a wild card? Yes!
It's a Vulcan. The trick is called a Vulcan. It's a half S-bend.
For Parks Bonifay, number 1 seed heading into the final round, insurance that he will compete again. Wakeboarding's first time ever at the X Games here in Providence, Rhode Island. The number 1 seed here in the round of 10. He wants to move on as well. It is Dean Lavelle.
Dean charging into the wake for a big, giant front flip. Now notice the contrasting styles between Dean, Parks, and Scott Byerly. Dean is a show skier. He's been show skiing at SeaWorld for 5 years. Parks is a 14-year-old. And Scott Byerly is a surfer and a skateboarder. And it's very interesting, the contrast of styles, Doug.
Lavelle's 25-second pass is now over.
Here comes Dean on his switch stance S-bend. Good lift off the wake. Look at his rotation. Rotates the board all the way around him with the rope over his head. Lands the trick.
Again, Dean was seated number 1 coming into the round of 10. If he wants that same seating, he needs to pull out the stops on this, his second pass, 25 seconds, and the wild card at the end.
Shannon Best currently sitting in 4th place, and there's the trick he invented, the S-bend. Dean is going to have to put together 4 more tricks here if he wants to advance.
Lavelle finishes off this run. He will move on to the round of 4.
He needs to put it together right here. There's a tantrum, an air front flip. Lavelle's got 1 more trick left. Can he nail it? Comes into the wake switch stance, lands it, switch stance. It's a switch stance grip. Dean Lavelle gonna move on.
He knows it. 94.14, and he will be the number 1 seed when we move on to the final round of wakeboarding. The way we stand here at the end of the second round, Lavelle leads the pack, but so close.